Spotlight on those who served. Brought to you by Gray Bar.
The Hill neighborhood in South St. Louis sent a significant number of men to serve in World War II. One of those veterans is sharing his story, hoping his neighborhood and his generation are not forgotten.
And tonight I'm introducing you to the Navy veteran who survived one of the worst battles of World War II.
In late 1942, at the age of 20, John Pozzo, who grew up on the Hill, enlisted in the Navy.
I didn't want to join the Army because I didn't feel like I want to sleep in a foxhole. So I figured, join the Navy and, you'd have a place to sleep.
As a ship fitter first class, one of his main responsibilities during World War II was helping transfer fuel from one ship to another at sea.
We supplied oil to the ships as they went for invasions. We refueled them, make sure they had enough fuel to get back. It was rough. It took us 24 hours, to unload. Sometimes we would work continuously, for 18 hours.
While serving in the South Pacific, Pozzo found himself in the middle of one of the most brutal battles of the war.
One of the incidents at Guadalcanal, we had 120 planes attack us. Then my battle station was on the top deck, and there was evidence, of the plane just falling all over. The pilots would be visible. They came so close. Fortunately, they didn't strafe the ship.
His dining room table is full of memories from his 3.5 years of service, from pictures to notes from home.
These are all cards that I received from the family when I was in service. This is from my mom.
To newspaper articles and these tiny replicas of U.S. ships he made all by hand down to every little detail, the first of which he built while in service.
The captain wanted to buy it. So I told him, no, I'm not going to sell. He said, Pozzo, you could make another one. I said, no, sir, I'm taking that home.
Home to the Hill, a neighborhood he says had an impressive number of men serve in World War II given its size.
Real great guys, I grew up with. And I think, over 1,000, and 23 killed was a lot worse. It's a shame they're not here. I went to school with the guys, I worked with some of them, and a best friend of mine was killed on Okinawa.
And while it will always be tough to talk about his memories of the war and the losses he experienced, Pozzo also wants to recognize his life-changing service to our country.
Well, I'm proud to serve. And I think, my wife's buried at Jeffersonburg.
Pozzo and his wife Clara, seen here in this picture, raised 2 sons, one of whom escorted him on an honor flight to Washington, D.C.
Oh, I'd love that. I wish I could go again. I can't believe the personnel they have, honoring us the veterans, It's great the time they spent and the honors you have, when you return. That's just great. And then you get an envelope with mail in it, and the friends, his neighbors, they had written letters, and my grandkids, where it was great. You just makes you want to shake and cry.
While he truly appreciates such recognition, Pozzo also worries about the long-term honoring of veterans. That's one reason he compiled a lot of what's on his table into this book.
Why did you do that orange notebook? Who was that for?
Well, I just want my grandkids to remember that I served. Because like I tell you, there's so many kids today don't even realize there was a World War II.
So at the age of 97, Pozzo is still on a mission to share his story and the stories of those who bravely served alongside him in World War II.
So my story isn't as rough as some of the other guys, that are not here to tell it. So that's why I feel kind of guilty and humble to be here telling you my side.
Well, by the way, the captain who wanted to buy Pozzo's first model ship, we saw there on the table, offered him $100 for it. Adjusted for inflation, that would be about $1,400 today. He said no way, wanted to take it home to his family. Since then, has built 2 more that will stay in the family. Steve.